And we are live.
Episode 17.
Yep, episode 17.
The numbers just keep going up.
It's been a long journey. We're at 479 subscribers.
Dude, growth has been crazy the last couple of days. Like, I think
Absolutely crazy.
the other day we were at like 460.
460, yes.
I think 3 days ago. Not even 2 days ago. It's crazy growth.
Yeah, we've gained 8 today and then 7 yesterday.
What up, fellas from David? What up, David?
What's going on, David? And Go Blue, yes. Go Blue indeed.
We're going to be talking about that.
We'll get to that in just a moment here.
Gonna wait till about the minute mark.
What a win, yes.
That was actually crazy.
Crazy.
I was legit shaking while watching that. I was like the last minute,
Mhm.
Ohio State got the ball, I was actually shaking. But
Almost went in tears, when Zach Zinner went down too.
I didn't go in tears because I couldn't see what happened. And then when they cut off commercials and I saw everybody like crying, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
Well, I was like, what happened?
it was bad.
And then I saw on Twitter or X the play that like on how it happened. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It looked normal until Zach Zinner went down. You were like, and he was holding his left knee. And if you read into Zach Zinner's history with his left knee, it's not good.
Mhm.
Yes, I was at the game, David. I was at the game.
Yeah, dude.
Even rushed the field, which we'll get to that. But
Think we're ready?
I think we are ready to go.
All right. So we're gonna start off with some questions for Owen. What was the game experience? Just leading like the tailgate, the way there, going into the game, the hype before the game, during the game, like just the whole the community, like the Michigan community, like football fans.
Yeah, like the atmosphere of it.
What was it like?
Oh, it is. On that game day is like any other.
Yep.
I went to 4 games this year. That was my 4th game. Any of the 3 other games, it was just a normal game. You went in, we knew it was going to dominate and win. So it was just going there. But this time it was, I was fortunate enough to watch the Ohio State buses where the players were. They came by. And let's just say fans were sticking up a certain finger.
Did you see
those
Marvin
buses.
Harrison?
Like the windows were tinted,
Yeah.
like enough so you couldn't really see inside.
Yeah.
But you knew it was the Ohio State buses because of the fans. But a lot of middle fingers. If there was a total count, it would have probably been in the 100,000s, most likely. It was a lot. I even threw up some too. Just at certain people for sure. But just
Was
the
Ryan Day one of them?
atmosphere. Oh, Ryan Day. There was chants in the stands of crying day. Urban Meyer was not too far from us, so most of our section was kind of just flipping him off, and he was weird. He was wearing like a green tie, so it was kind of like, he was really trying not to start anything, but he started a lot just being there.
Yep.
But
I saw the league. Everybody was flipping them off.
yes, yeah. Just a lot of flipping off yesterday, and the energy there is just different, and especially because I went there 2 years ago, and that Michigan-Ohio State game, everybody's more nervous about the game, just because Michigan hadn't won in like 12 years, so people were expecting, if Michigan were to pull this off, it'd be a miracle. But this year, it was like supposed to be the best game of the year, which it was by far.
Yeah.
So, great atmosphere. Love the atmosphere. It's just, if you love football, that's the place to be on that day.
Yeah. And after the game when Michigan won, could you describe what it was like storming the field? Because I saw a bunch of pictures on X, and I heard about how they were asking people, can you please leave get off the field, leave?
Yes.
And as people were like, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures. The entire field was covered with people.
Oh, yes.
What was it like?
Oh, it was awesome. So I stormed the field, got into the middle of the crowd. There was a Fox camera that went by. I tried getting on that.
I went there this year, and it was my first time. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
that being your first game.
That's quite the first
awesome.
game.
Awesome.
Only ever games I ever went to were like the first games where you play like nobody.
Yeah, where you play Nebraska, but Jack, you've seen the atmosphere there just for like a Nebraska
Yeah, even
game.
for just a basic game, it's still
Yes.
crazy.
It's awesome. 110,000 fans. There's actually, according to the board and like the attendance count, there was actually more people at the Indiana game than that game, attendance count wise.
Intriguing.
But that might be just Michigan fans because there were a decent amount of Ohio State fans there.
Mhm.
But of course, crazy atmosphere. Storming the field was awesome. Fox was there, on the field during that, so it was kind of like they're getting like
Good.
back shots of people and
Yeah.
just filming it all.
So
It was awesome.
pretty much giving the real life experience for people who weren't at the game.
And I got pretty close to the players. I didn't get like right up to them, but I was pretty close to them too. So just seeing like the guys out there, like they are huge. Like you said,
Yeah.
like they are huge. Like it's awesome.
Now moving on to the sports questions, like specific things. What are your thoughts on, like, we're just gonna give our thoughts on the Michigan Ohio State game. I think I want to start this off.
You could start it off.
Ryan Day is a bad coach. He gets too scared and then makes big decisions when it's too late. First drive, 4th and 1, near the 50. You gotta go for it against Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Because
It wasn't even 4th and 1. I'd say it's like 4th and a half.
it was not a lot. He decides to punt, and then they probably would have got it. Their offense wasn't horrible all day.
Yeah, and they were. That was when like Ohio State kind of started shifting. Like the line was getting a great push.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of got like scared. Like I was like, he's going to go for this, and they're just going to keep going. Because
Mhm.
Michigan was up 7-0, I believe.
No, it was their first drive.
Well,
0-0.
first drive. Oh, okay then. So, especially after the past 2 years, I mean, you got to go for it.
Ryan Day is too scared to take risks. I think
Yes.
that's a really big downfall on his coaching. He doesn't take a risk like a lot of other coaches do.
Even looking at that game yesterday, Sherrone Moore.
He took a lot of risks. Throwing
He
the ball
took-
with Donovan Edwards.
Yes, I mean on 4th and 1.
He went for a lot of 4th downs.
Yes, he even like faked the handoff and went for a little action to Colston Loveland. Like
Yep.
Loveland drops that pass, it's Ohio State going the other way. Like there's a lot of bold decisions that you just have to make in that game. You have to.
I think it was just whoever had the biggest guts was going to get, like, in those certain plays, it's whoever was going to have the bigger guts.
Yep.
And Sherrone Moore in Michigan, I thought, had more guts than Ryan Day in Ohio State.
100%.
And it showed like relatively quick because every single time that Michigan converted to 4th down, they got points.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State lost by 1 score. So, yeah.
It all adds up in the end. And, even Ryan Day expressed after the game, like the effort was there and everything, which it was truly. But it's just, Ryan Day needs to, just the coaching just needs to be better.
I think his defensive coordinator is not good. Hear me out.
It's true.
He has good defenses year in, year out. And against Michigan, he gives up 30. Okay, so for the last 3 years.
Well, 2. He's only been coaching
Okay,
for 2 years.
2,
but still.
45 last year
45.
and 30 this year.
Against your rival.
And you can't really win like that.
Smoking that on Ohio pack. For real, that was, you know what the people were doing at my tailgate after. They got out
dude.
those Victory cigars and
Oh,
just.
dude, I've been at your tailgates a few times.
Mhm.
The cigars get pulled out.
Yep, definitely.
But,
Even if it's like Indiana or something, but still,
if it's a win, a cigar's
like,
get
a
pulled
win's
out.
a win. A win's a win.
A win is a win, and I just felt like Michigan was just the better team, and it really showed.
Oh, 100%.
But anyway, back to the defensive coordinator. I think if Ryan Day is too scared to fire his guy, and it's negatively affecting their team. They got the athletes on defense. They got the size. They got the skill.
Oh, even that number 44
Yeah,
is
the
going to be
excellent.
excellent.
He's a great
He's
player.
going to be excellent NFL player.
And their line's strong. They
Yes.
have a strong defensive line.
Yes.
So it's not like he has nothing to work with. His team is good,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just not. I don't think he's a good coordinator. I think Ryan Day is scared to fire him. That's my reaction to it.
And yeah, you can read that comment real quick.
Michigan on top cracks.
But Michigan talent wise, I seen a comment on TikTok today, and it was the truth. Ohio State, they didn't get worse. Michigan just got better, flat out.
They got great transfers this year. They got Wallace. He was a big time player yesterday. I mean, their defense got a lot better, and they got more depth. They got the tight end Barner. From Indiana.
AJ Barner, yeah.
Yep. I mean,
And then even the guy from Nebraska, the younger guy, he's a sophomore.
Mhm.
Forget I believe it's like Harrell or something.
yeah, Harold.
Yeah, he's a starting like linebacker. Like we just got the pieces, and it just made it us better. Like last year, we lost a lot.
Anything we lost DJ Turner to the draft.
Yeah,
We
but we
got
covered it
Wallace
right
back.
back. We got covered it
So
right back.
we filled all our spots with the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of the teams don't utilize the transfer portal enough in the ways that Michigan, like we're doing, or teams that are starting to really build their football program because they're utilizing the transfer portal for how
And
it
even
is nowadays.
it was senior night last night, and there were a couple seniors that stepped up. I don't know if you've seen that Quentin Johnston hit, but number 2 Abuka runs right up the seam. He has a wide open catch. I think Johnston just comes out of nowhere.
clean hit,
Clean,
Put his arm right into him.
just boom.
And Mike Sanders still.
Mike Sanders still making a
Huge
huge
hit.
hit as well. Just those are things like it was senior night. The atmosphere was just crazy for
Blake
Michigan.
Corum's touchdown right after Zach Zinner's injury.
Yep, like that's just like after that Zach Zinner
Literally the
injury.
first play back.
Like after that Zach Zinter injury, like the Michigan sideline, the switch flipped. Ohio State had two bad possessions in a row. It was awesome.
Oh my god! No, I can't do that.
Oh my god!
But I feel like we saw at the end of the day, it's a football game. Players got to go out for Zach Zinner. I feel really bad for him. He was in.
Yes, he's supposed to be a top of the line, NFL draft pick.
He's in the finalists for the academic Heisman.
Even
So
I think he's even in the running for best offensive
in
lineman
the country, yeah,
in the country.
He's a smart dude. He's a great football player, and it sucks the injuries.
Yeah,
Injuries suck.
Broken tibia and fibula is no joke.
That's tough.
All right, what is that? What does that say?
Okay, so not reading that either. But yeah.
Oh my god.
Another thing, Cal McCord, he's trash. He's not the answer.
Yeah, I was saying it before the game to my dad and grandpa who I went to the game with. I was saying I haven't seen a game where Kyle McCord did not throw a pick. Like this year, now of course he has had games where he doesn't throw a pick, but these past 2 games he's had 5 picks. That is not a quarterback. And I even said it at the beginning of the year. What was going to hurt Alabama and Ohio State this year was their quarterback.
Yeah, because how do you replace Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud?
You just doesn't happen.
Gotta hope you have a great quarterback in the in the shadows. What did they say? Not popping up.
Somebody blocked this guy out of the chat.
Bob, ban him. Also, if you guys haven't, make sure to like the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps us out. But
Yep, like the stream.
my overall thoughts are Michigan outplayed them, and there's no excuses Ohio State can use. Pathetic. 2 years ago, using the weather. Michigan played in the exact same weather. What is the difference?
Yeah. So
Then last year, the sign stealing. This year, what's the excuse now?
yeah,
Did we steal their souls or something? What did we do? It makes no
this
sense.
year Michigan just flat out just had the talent. Just flat out had the talent. You can't. There's no other excuse.
Ohio State was outmatched.
Yes.
You know what?
And your quarterback just can't throw a clutch. A clutch time. His pass got tipped at the line, yes, but in the right throws in the right time, you just got to make them.
It started. Will Johnson was terrible. He just jumped it.
Yes, it's an easy route to jump. It's a nice little slant. As long as the cornerback knows what's happening, that's an easy jump.
Mhm.
If Will Johnson doesn't get tripped up, that's a pick 6.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Mhm.
So,
but still on the kind of the topic of the Ohio State game. A lot of rumors about Ryan Day right now. Do you think he should get fired?
I think he should be on the hot seat.
I thought
Just because of his knowledge and what his record is against everybody else besides Michigan, I know you're supposed to win that one game, the biggest game of the year,
Mhm.
but
Here's my thing on it. He got put on third base straight up. He had the one year he beat Michigan. Michigan, wasn't a good team, and he had all of Urban Meyer's recruits.
Yep.
I mean, so he wins that one. Pretty sure won that. But when he has to recruit himself, has to coach himself without any help, he's literally put on third base with how great of a roster he had.
mm-hmm.
He can't win.
Mhm.
He's lost 3 seasons in a row to the one team that you're supposed to beat every single year. The rival, the biggest rival on the schedule.
It's
and
just-
you can't win it.
The only reason I wouldn't fire him if I was Ohio State, just give him that one more year of a chance, because who you going to replace him with, realistically? Because your offensive coordinator is meh. He's okay. He had a couple good drives out there. And then there was, there's even the defensive coordinator, which we were talking about, is just in complete shambles.
Touchdown caught by Devontae Smith. I just had to shout that out. Shout out to
What?
my fantasy team.
Oh, Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith caught a
It's
touchdown
got
pass.
stuff. Be quiet, Davey. You got Michigan, Kentucky on top.
Against top 5 ranked teams.
Yeah, no, dude, Ryan Day is 1-6 against top 5 teams.
That's
That's not good.
not good deeds.
So that's why I think he should get fired. He's not the answer for Ohio State.
It's just you got to find a replacement,
And granted,
and
you could say
replacing that is
Harbaugh lost a lot of games to Ohio State year in, year out, but he started with nothing. He had Brady Hoke's terrible recruiting class. He recruited a terrible quarterback, and Shane Morrison didn't recruit and promised him he wouldn't recruit a quarterback in the next class. So he had to go out and find Jake Rudock and get a bunch of other transfers, and he still salvaged a good season after going from 3-9 to 10-2, winning the Citrus Bowl against Florida, all in the change of a year. So, in my opinion, Jim Harbaugh has absolutely turned around Michigan's football program in the 2010s to 2020s, and Ryan Day literally got put in the best position possible, and he
he's failed.
He can't do anything. So,
I
I
just
think he should get fired.
I just think, a little bit of it might be his ego.
He's not a good coach.
Just because, he dominates everybody all year, and then all of a sudden, like a good team just rolls around and he just gets out coached. Flat out. He just gets out coached every single time.
I don't think he's a good coach.
Nope.
Straight up. We didn't have our head coach, Jim Harbaugh, for the last 3 games.
And he gets out
And he
coached.
still got out coached
Still got out
by our
coached.
offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Make that make sense. But moving on from the Ohio State Michigan game. Sorry, we just had to really talk about that a lot since
it was the biggest game of the year so far. So
honestly, I want to talk about a game that was really great to watch yesterday. The Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. I mean,
Auburn should
here's my thing.
have won that game.
That game is one of the most underrated rival games in college
Yes.
football.
Yes.
Because every year, no matter how good either team is, it's
Yeah.
super competitive.
Yes.
Alabama literally had the ball, 4th and goal on their 31, and they're down. What were they down by? Like 3. Yeah, and they throw a touchdown pass.
Oh wait, no, they were down. They were down by 4 because
Yeah.
they would have kicked the field goal and went to overtime. But
Mhm. And
I mean,
against an Auburn team with Peyton Thorne as their quarterback from Michigan State,
yeah. So Auburn played a great game.
They played their
great
best game of the year, and they
up until that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they're still in a bowl game, but
I was watching the game. That was a really close game throughout the entire game.
yes,
No, you never really thought we're going to win it until the very end when it was 4th and 31. You thought, 4th and goal from the 31. People were like, Auburn's going to win this, and then a miraculous touchdown pass got it. So, I mean,
there's the thing is that was crazy, but there's actually crazier that has happened in that series. Believe it or
the
not,
kickoff. I mean,
the
the
kickoff
field goal,
return is the biggest one.
The field goal where the dude caught it in the back,
Yep,
ends up
and he just
ran it back.
returns it. That's,
So that just shows how great of the history of the Iron Bowl is.
yes.
I mean,
Michigan Ohio State is, don't get me wrong, it's the best rivalry possibly in sports.
You can make the argument that the Iron Bowl is better.
You could make the argument, yes.
Michigan Ohio State games can be lopsided a lot.
Yeah.
The Iron Bowl, I swear, is never actually lopsided. It's always really close.
Mhm.
So no matter how good Alabama is, or no matter how good Auburn is, it's super close. So I think the Iron Bowl is a very underrated not even a bowl game because it's not a bowl game, but very underrated. Just game every
Game in
single season.
general, yeah.
But moving on to another game, Oregon versus Oregon State happened on Friday. Oregon killed Oregon State. There's just no really way to put that.
I mean, I guess one thing you could say is this is showing that Oregon, going into next week, they play Washington.
Yep.
And Washington struggled against Oregon State, and Oregon just took care of it like it was nothing, like it was another day in the office.
And
That's why I think Oregon should have just flat out won that game against Washington.
speaking of Washington, I watched that game a lot yesterday. Washington versus Washington State. Washington was playing great at the very beginning, and then the game got close.
Rough.
The game got
Rough
really
game.
close.
Yes.
It was close till the very end.
And it was at Washington, too,
Mhm.
which was more shocking.
I mean, it came down to a game-winning field goal
Mhm.
for. The Heisman finalist Michael Penix. He didn't look too great. Did not look great, and
And, we'll get to that.
yeah.
Like who we think, of course, is the lead runner after last week,
Mhm.
or yesterday. But
The game was close. I watched. Washington
it
played.
was scary, yeah.
They started off really good, and you're like, okay, well, Washington's going to do what Washington does, put up 50-plus points on them and win the game by like 20.
Because,
it's
the
huge.
defense is bad.
Another usual game, but Washington State, I'll give them their credit. They rolled with the punches. They took some hits. They fought right back.
And, I was saying how, Auburn, of course, losing that game doesn't really affect them bowl-wise, but
Yeah.
Washington State was 5-6
Mhm.
going into that game. I think
Yep.
that's why that was a very close game.
Shout out to the kicker for Washington. He got a scholarship right after. Hitting the
Oh,
game
really?
winner. Yeah,
Oh,
I saw
that's-
that.
That's awesome.
But
Good for the kid.
my question is, would you have gotten it if you missed? Probably not.
Oh, if he misses that and they go to overtime with Washington State, like,
Been bad, but
not even bad,
Shout out to
especially
him
in
for making
rivalry.
kick.
That's huge.
He
Huge
missed-
kick.
he missed a kick earlier in the game. So, he had the ice in his veins, made the most important kick of the game. Shout out to him.
Yeah, it's huge.
Oh, so
It's a huge kick.
I'm just now remembering something for the Michigan Ohio State game. Roman Wilson's catch for a touchdown.
Oh yeah.
It's a touchdown. And even if
Mhm.
it's not counted, even if it's
Well, he had possession going into the end zone,
And-
anyways.
he had his knee down anyways.
Yes, like he
So-
was literally across the goal line down and everything,
So if
and then
they
he strips the
so if
ball.
they don't say it's a touchdown, he's down at the 1 at worst.
Because that was the thing that I seen. The Ohio State's offensive coordinator responded to Rowan Wilson saying that the
Yeah.
Ohio State team was soft, and he responded with, "The refs gave you a lucky call there at the goal line. That should have been a pick, not a touchdown."
Well, I can picture the picture in my head. Roman Wilson's knees down, the ball's crossed
They
across the
keep
goal line.
like I was like where my seats were. That happened right in front of me,
Yeah,
so I knew exactly what happened. He catches it. It's like right here. He has possession right here.
Yep.
Don't matter where you have possession, as long as you have
long as
possession, you
you're
have
holding-
possession.
Yep.
His knees down and everything. He goes down, and of course, like he starts bobbling a bit, but he's already in the end zone,
and if he's,
and then he just gets
yeah,
stripped.
full control of the ball, his knees down, so plays dead right there.
Plays dead right there.
Yep,
Yes.
and the dude rips it out after. So there's no way that could have been a
Like
fumble.
the ref literally starts going like this, and all of a sudden the ball's stripped.
Mhm.
So of course they call it a touchdown, and then
Hey, Michigan won.
when Michigan won, doesn't matter.
Yep.
Ohio State got a lot of calls in that game. I don't even want to get started on that.
Yeah, there's
There was a lot of calls. You know how many penalties they had? They could guess how many penalties they had.
3,
Less.
2,
Less.
1.
They had one for 5 yards, and it was a violation. I think it was like a what was it? Like the player wasn't set during the punt,
Yeah.
and they gave Michigan 5 yards. That is the only thing that Michigan got pretty much that entire game. And then of course that touchdown was ruled a touchdown.
A win's a win.
A win's a win,
I'll
but
take it.
honestly, the odds with the refs were against Michigan. There
Everything
were
was
a
against
couple.
Michigan. People were pissed for Michigan fans kind of lashing out at people.
Mhm.
You guys called us cheaters.
Yep.
You guys said we weren't a legit team.
Yep.
And we flat out beat the team that called us out on cheating. Got ranked ahead of us randomly. Went from the 3 spot to the 2 spot and jumped us.
Made no sense because what, you beat Notre Dame?
I mean, we beat Penn State with our head coach when we ran the ball 30 times in the 30 plus times. So
And we still didn't jump you guys.
Yep.
And then we beat you.
it was pretty.
And you're probably out of the playoffs now. So Is what it is.
I think they could still make it into the playoffs, but
They could, but I'd say a lot would have to happen next week, which last year it happened.
it did happen. They
So-
got pretty lucky.
USC, God,
Choked
USC
it.
sold that so bad. All they had to do was beat Utah. Utah was their kryptonite that year.
Moving on to the Iowa-Nebraska game. I really want to rant about this one because I was watching this game too.
You watched this game, I didn't. But I never watch Iowa. I will never watch Iowa unless Michigan's playing them, which
This
is
was
next week.
This was the worst football game I've ever seen of offense. So it's 10-10 with a minute to go, with like a minute and 40 to go.
In the game?
Mhm.
Okay. I was gonna say third because if it was third quarter, then
Nebraska has the ball at around the 50, and they get dudded. It's like a fourth and 2. They don't go for it. That rule is questionable. If you really want, their offense wasn't good, so it's kind of a good decision. Because their offense isn't doing anything.
and
I don't wanna risk it.
Iowa's defense is pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's not
Pretty
horrible.
good.
It's not
It's
horrible.
really good.
So they punt the ball. Iowa gets the ball with like a minute left. Iowa's quarterback throws a pick. And the Nebraska guy returns it to about the 40, but it gets called back. So they're around the 30-yard line. There's about 40 seconds left in the game now. The quarterback, Purdy for Nebraska, first play, throws it right to the middle linebacker. The middle linebacker is literally standing right there and he still throws it right at him. He jumps up, picks it, returns it to about the 30, so they're almost field goal range.
Mm-hmm.
They run the ball. They should just know that because Iowa can't throw the ball for anything.
Yes.
So Matt Rule should have just sent the heat. Should have sent the heat, and he didn't. And Iowa got a 30-yard run, and then they just
Wow.
stalled and kicked a field goal, and they won.
Wow.
Might have been the worst offensive performance I've ever seen by both teams.
That is a terrible sequence.
It's horrible.
You know,
Iowa's quarterback is not good.
not going for it, punting it, then throwing a pick, then throwing another pick,
I mean,
then getting a 30-yard run, and then just stalling.
it just made no
That
sense.
seems so boring.
And all that happened within 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I was like watching. I was like, what is going on?
and
I'm like, does Nebraska and Iowa do both?
believe it
want-
or not, like that team's number 17 in the country.
I was like, do both teams not want to win? I was really confused. Honestly, you can say that Iowa's defense is good. It didn't exactly perform good
Well,
against Penn
that's
State
And keep in mind, that team has 10 wins. Iowa has
because they
10
play nobody.
wins. 10 wins, yes.
Once
Well,
I
they
play
play against the
nobody-
West.
The Big Ten West is weak.
It's weak.
And-
Because Purdue's not good this year. That's like usually their only competition. And so is Wisconsin.
But
Both
they
were
haven't,
trash
they
this
haven't had
year.
a good team in a while.
Yeah, both have just been trying to like finesse teams, trying to finesse
Yeah.
transfers and stuff.
All I got to say is I actually thought genuinely that both the teams didn't want to win. I was so confused what was going on. I was like,
They
Well,
both might have wanted to lose. You
oh,
never know.
there's no way this is a college
Never
football
know.
program for both of these teams. It's horrible. But that's just my little rant about it.
So I just hope Michigan absolutely mercies
They should
Iowa.
fire the coach from Iowa, honestly. I
Dude.
don't care about his legacy.
The Iowa coach, the defensive coordinator needs to be the head coach, if anything. Because defensive coordinator seems like he's doing his job
I
right.
think their defense is overrated.
The offensive coordinator needs to.
That's the
That
coach's
man
son.
needs to get out.
That's the head coach's son.
Oh, they get the both out. Get
So
the both
they-
out.
So there's a reason why he's still
Yes.
coaching there. Even
Oh
though
my
every single year
God.
they average like
There is no off. Even with Cade McNamara, who can't throw over 20 yards, like that doesn't really help. But still, Cade is like not the worst quarterback,
hurt.
and you still can't do anything. I know.
yeah.
But like
Their
just
backup
looking
is- their
just
backup
looking at
is
the
atrocious.
offense, like with Cade moving there, it was like supposed to bring a spark, and it never did.
It's because their offensive scheme is terrible. Run play up the middle. Run play up the middle. Crossing route.
Yeah,
Crossing
they don't
route.
really like.
No, it's literally just crossing routes.
Yeah, like it's
Ha-
not.
halfback
They don't
dives.
go for big plays. They don't go for outside runs. It's like old school football.
Their quarterback's just terrible.
Yes.
Their backup.
The quarterback situation there has not been good in I don't know how long.
Probably since CJ Beathard was
Yeah,
their
CJ
quarterback.
Beathard, but
What y'all know about CJ Beathard? I don't know.
I remember watching him against Michigan a couple
Yeah,
times.
he's actually pretty good.
He was good.
But like I said, offensive coordinator sucks.
Yeah.
So I think they should fire the offensive coordinator
Yes.
and the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. That's my opinion. I don't care about the head coach's legacy for what he's done for the program. He
I don't care if
hasn't-
they won 10-2 this
He
year.
hasn't done anything. If they don't play anybody and they're still 10-2. And you said that their defense is good. I disagree. Against Penn State, they gave up 42 points. or 35 or something like that. Not a good defensive showing. So I
Well,
think
it's kind of hard when your offense
there needs to
is
be
only out there for 2 minutes
there
and
needs
then
to be a change.
give it up.
There needs to be a change. Straight up.
It's just that, yeah. If Iowa had a decent offense, they could actually be like really, really good.
Yeah.
But Jesus,
moving on to
Jesus.
Michigan State versus Penn State though. This is our final game we're going to be talking about.
On the field that is currently hosting the state
Ford Field.
championships.
Ford Field.
I
They got
think their
walloped.
logo's actually still on there.
Yeah, because they don't have time to.
Because they don't have time to
Fix
switch it. So
So they lost 42-0. It was a massacre. I turned the game off. Rumor on the street is Michigan State put in a walk-on player because they were getting beat that bad.
yeah, I mean, it was 13-0 at halftime. But then after that, it was
Michigan State didn't look like they looked worse than Iowa's offense. It was horrible.
oh
They
my
played-
god.
I'm being so honest.
Honestly, like as a Michigan fan, like you just kind of start like watching them, and it's like you just kind of start feeling bad.
We got all the Michigan State fans at school talking about how
Yeah, like
Caden Howard's just so good because he's a 4-star. Well, you ask Alabama if they're super excited about a 4-star quarterback. I don't really care. That's
no starring doesn't matter. I mean, we've seen it with Ryan Day, clear as day.
you see, especially at the quarterback position. You got like Quinn Ewers, who was a 5-star. He didn't do much. Tate Martell, 5-star. He didn't do anything.
It's all about your development.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a great.
You know, Michigan has made, of course, a lot of people have said this. Harbaugh's made a lot of 3-stars into NFL players. Nico Collins, Ronnie Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, like
specifically at the quarterback position,
even the quarterback position. Yes,
Cade McNamara, a 3-star.
Cade
Actually, no,
McNamara.
he's a 4-star. My bad.
he looked pretty darn good in the Michigan system.
Yeah.
I mean, besides throwing over 20 yards, but besides that, I mean, he looked pretty good. Like he looked comfortable. And
It's kind of sad that Michigan State fans get really excited about their 4-star quarterback, Caden Hauser, but he hasn't done anything. Granted, he's young. I think he'll be solid, but it's kind of sad that they have to put either him, Sam Levitt, or was it No Ken? That was their quarterback room. It's horrible. It's not a lot of competition there.
I mean, just the recruiting. Michigan State. Now, of course, it's also gone down now because of Mel Tucker's situation and Mel Tucker being fired. But, like the recruiting the past couple of years just
Hasn't been good.
has been horrible. I mean, Caden Hauser was a lucky. I mean, they pulled him out literally like from another school. He was going to go to another school. I forget where.
I'm trying to remember what school it was.
He was like really close to going somewhere, and then all of a sudden he just switched to Michigan State. It was weird, but they even had a chance to get a couple 5-stars this past recruiting.
Did they really have a chance though?
Well, there was one offensive lineman that was between Kentucky and Michigan State. Like he was really close on both.
But then
Then he ended up
Mel
going to
Tucker-
Kentucky.
Probably was the Mel Tucker situation.
Well, no, it was the year.
Yeah.
Like he was class 23, so he's playing this year.
Yeah.
But still, just
The recruiting is terrible.
the recruiting is just horrible.
They don't develop
the
players.
transfer, like besides Kenneth Walker,
No, literally.
they haven't had anything.
It's kind of sad to think about it because their coach came in, COVID year, didn't have a good season. The only thing positive from that is he beat Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Gets Kenneth Walker from the transfer portal. Didn't even
Which
recruit
is
him.
awesome. Which is awesome.
Didn't even literally carried the team to a 10-2.
Carry. That was probably. They say it's one of the biggest carry jobs. I seen TikTok.
Me and my buddy Liam, shout out Liam. We were talking about this. Kenneth Walker is the reason that Mel Tucker got paid $95 million
Yes.
for 10 years.
Mhm.
And
Truly.
they wasted all that. And the year that they beat Michigan with Kenneth Walker ran all over Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Who beat Ohio State that year? Not them.
Not them.
Who played in the Big Ten championship game? Not them.
Them.
Who was in the college football playoffs? Not them. So their year literally revolved around beating Michigan.
Yes.
And Michigan State is not even Michigan's big rival. That is pathetic.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, people are saying that Penn State might even be a bigger rival in Michigan's eyes than
Might be.
Michigan State.
And the only thing that Michigan State fans can talk about is the early 2010s when D'Antonio saved them and Connor Cook was their quarterback. I mean, other than that, though,
Connor Cook was a great college player
Oh, yeah, great.
Holy
great college
crap.
player. But,
until he faced Alabama.
yeah, that was bad. 42-0.
31.
This was not good. I remember watching that game.
I mean, it was a game at halftime. So,
Michigan State fans are sorry.
yeah, it was 10-0 at halftime, but then it turned into a massacre pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Just not overall. Just
It's my little rant on Michigan State, Mel Tucker.
yeah, Michigan State.
Kind
Just that Penn State game was just a cherry on top of the year. Like it was
As
just
soon as Kenneth Walker left, though, what happened to Michigan State? What happened to Mel Tucker?
what happened to
Downhill.
everybody on the team. I mean, Keon Coleman
Peyton
left.
Peyton Thorne looked
Peyton Thorne.
like he'd never thrown a football before.
Yes.
Because when you have all that pressure on you, your star running back's gone.
Yeah, and he had Keon Coleman, and I mean, you see him on Florida State.
Jaden
He's now a
Reed.
top 10 prospect.
Jaden Reed's on the Packers,
Yes,
NFL receiver. So
and he's doing solid.
I mean,
So I
I don't know, man. I don't think
It's just bad, all bad for Michigan State, and you kind of like feel bad sometimes, but as a Michigan fan, it's like I guess it's a free one every year now.
I don't feel bad for Michigan State fans because they're always this is my personal experience from people at school,
Yeah,
people I talk to. Always, they're worried more about Michigan than they are about their own team.
yes,
If Michigan loses anything, it's like, oh, yada yada yada. And the only two things I ever hear Michigan State fans talk about are trouble with the snap and Kenneth Walker running all over Michigan. Only two things they can talk about
Mhm.
that goes negatively against Michigan.
And they also recently have been talking about basketball.
Yeah, and their basketball team is
Their
three
basketball
losses.
team has
Lost to James Madison, Arizona, Duke.
Yep.
So I'm not even going to try to say Michigan's basketball team is good, but Michigan State's
Yikes.
basketball team, for being as hyped up as they are pretty underwhelming right now.
And we don't really care about Michigan State, to be honest. As
Yeah.
Michigan people, like we don't even care.
Not really. But yeah. But continue on to Michigan State. I do have something positive to say about them.
Mhm.
They hired Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. I think it's a great hire.
Yes,
There was an Oregon State team last year that was horrible, not even decent. He turns them around to be a ranked team this year, top 10 for a little bit. So honestly, I think that's a great hire because that's what they need.
even last year, like before this year, he was good. Like the team was solid.
Yeah.
Oregon State has been on like a rise, like a good trend.
Mhm.
So it's really good for Michigan State to get that guy. He's done a great job at Oregon State.
I think he's exactly what they need. And
Yes.
honestly, shout out to him. Because most people probably wouldn't have thought that, but I think the reason he probably is going to Michigan State is because,
Well, I
Oregon
probably saw what Mel Tucker got paid.
well, probably that
One.
too, but this is probably how he's doing it. What are the two biggest? It's okay, especially because the Pac-12 is, not really going to be a thing anymore.
Yeah, the big two conferences.
Yep. What are the two biggest conferences?
SEC and Big Ten.
Yep. And there's going to be 16 SEC teams, 18 Big Ten teams. Hear me out. So that's 34.
Wait, where's Oregon State going? Aren't they going to Big Ten?
Oh no, I'm not going to lie. Hear me out though. 34 premier coaching spots. I think that's going to be how like college coaches look. There's I think 70 Power 5, 70 something Power 5 schools for football.
Yep.
So 70 plus Power 5 football coaching opportunities, head coach opportunities. 34 coaching spots are going to be like the ones that you want to get. Ones in the Big Ten or the SEC. Because they're going to pay the most. I think that's what he's doing. And Michigan State has a history of paying Mel Tucker.
Yep.
And other coaches huge amounts of money.
D'Antoni.
He's gonna-
before him. Yeah.
And he's going to try to do that. But yeah, people really surprised because he was an alma mater at Oregon State. Was the quarterback. Played with Chad Ochocinco, was his big receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That's what shout out Chad Ochocinco. He did say congratulations to him.
Yep.
That was his college quarterback. So
Yes.
I think this is a great sign for Michigan, like good hire for Michigan State.
Yes.
He's
Well needed.
He's what they need. He's going to
Well
be the guy to
needed.
turn around their program. That's the only chance. And I think he's the guy to definitely do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown that he can do it at Oregon State. So see if he can do it in the Big Ten. And I think he can definitely do it. Michigan State's future is looking good, but
100%.
yeah. But shout out to Michigan State for getting that hire. I think that's a good one. That's one of their things I'm actually positive for them about. So
Yeah. After all that negative rant that we just
yeah, I had to say something positive
absolutely
about them.
crapped on their program, but
But yeah, no, this is a good sign. Something else that happened today was Tom Allen, coach of Indiana, got fired today.
after 7 seasons.
He's a good coach. I just feel like he's at a basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
Can a football coach be a great coach at a basketball school, really.
You know, it's kind of like Duke football.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a spark in Duke football, like it's pretty big for the school.
Because they're basketball. They're by far a basketball school, not even
Yes,
close.
not even
no
close.
contention. And I think that's kind of what you see with a lot of these basketball schools. I think Indiana falls into that as well. They have a good, rich basketball history, and I just don't feel like Tom Allen can live up to the basketball school narrative, and I feel like he just kind of folded. But I think Tom Allen's a good coach. I feel like he'll get an opportunity again.
He should.
So I mean, he's coached a good Indiana team with Michael Penix. The year that they beat Michigan.
And he's not the worst recruiter either.
He gets good recruits. It's just
You know, because of course you got Michael Penix.
it's tough. But
But still,
yeah, I think it's kind of sad, but I think it's probably what was best. Time Allen getting fired. So
just because they were, you know, kind of middle, like 5 and 6, 6
Yeah,
and 5, you know,
just been kind of an average team.
just
Nothing
yeah,
too great.
average
so,
team.
Other than there's one big year.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tom Allen. He's a good coach.
Mhm.
But moving on to Heisman finalists after the games yesterday and Friday. I'm gonna give my top three still. So we got Bo Nix from Oregon, Michael Penix from Washington, and Daniels from LSU or what?
Jane Daniels.
Jane Daniels. Yes. I'm gonna give my updated ranking for who I think is gonna win it. I think Bo Nix has flipped the script. He killed Oregon State, and hear me out. Michael Penix did not play good against Washington State yesterday.
Didn't.
I think it's really all going to come down to who wins between Oregon and Washington this week or this upcoming week.
Mhm.
And I feel like Jane Daniels, he can't win it because his team has 3 losses. So
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he's put up some great numbers.
Mhm.
Holy crap!
I just don't think he can win it because he's stat padded against pretty bad teams, and then good teams they play they lose to.
Yep.
So I don't think he can win Heisman, but he's a solid third option. It's just between Michael Penix and Bo Nix for who wins the game.
You know, Jaden Daniels' situation is kind of similar to Kenneth Walker
Yeah,
when Michigan State. You know, I know a lot of Michigan State fans say we should have won the Heisman that year. The reason why he didn't win it is because he had 2 losses.
and he played horrible against Ohio State. Had 24 rushing yards.
And I mean, it's more like that big game was a huge reason. But another thing is when he played CJ Stroud, who was in like the finals, the finalist that year, you know, he outperformed him clearly in that game.
And Bryce Young was the one who won a Heisman that
Who
year.
won the Heisman that year and still,
And I think Kenneth Walker should have made the Heisman like finalist. Like he should have been in the top 5, but
it's more like it's not like an individual thing. It's more like most of it's
There's a team
individual.
aspect
Yes,
to it.
there's a team aspect to it as well,
the
though.
reason Hutch was on there, he had a historic year at Michigan, and Michigan only lost 1 game,
Yeah,
and
and
they won the Big Ten championship. They beat Ohio State,
yes,
and I think that's what also kind of negatively affected CJ Stroud. He played great all year, but he lost to Oregon and lost to Michigan, and that kind of affected it. So it was just kind of a free walk away for Bryce Young. But I do think that Kenneth Walker should have made it onto the finalists.
yeah, the
So
finalists.
I think he got screwed out of that, but he should not have won the
Yeah, no. just because of his stats, flat
So
out.
yeah, but give your Heisman finalists top 3.
You know, after yesterday, JJ looked really good.
Okay.
But I mean, if he's probably going to be a finalist just because of his team performance. I'd say maybe he's like 4th, maybe 5th, and isn't it top? They bring top 4, right?
That's top 5.
I don't know how many
Doesn't
they
matter.
bring,
Yeah.
but I think he's gonna be that 4 or 5 slot. But you know, like you said, Bo Nix, Michael Penix, they've both had the best years. Their teams are flat out dominating. You know, whoever wins that game is most likely going to the college football playoffs, which is just going to add to their resume.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, he's been excellent stat-wise this year. Just his team's been underwhelming. But I mean, anybody else that is sticking out, really, like not really. I mean, Jordan Travis had a chance, but
Got hurt.
got hurt. So you know,
Injuries suck.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Whoever wins that game, Pac-12 championship,
Yep.
absolutely deserves it.
So yeah, I think it's really just gonna come down to that. Everybody else is kind of like a wild card on if they're gonna
Yeah.
win it. But moving on, we're gonna give our top 7 college football team rankings for So like updated. Gotta remember, it's gonna be some hot takes here. Gotta be a big hot take. And we're doing 7 because we want to show like 3 teams that can definitely make it.
Yes,
So it's all going to come down to what happens this weekend.
because we feel that it stretches out to 7. Maybe 8th team, maybe depending on the results next week.
Yeah.
Because Bama plays Georgia. Bama beats
Yep.
Georgia. Obviously,
Probably, yeah.
they should have a chance to get in.
So I'll start off first with my list.
Yeah.
At number 1, Georgia. I don't think there's an explanation needed.
Nope.
Number 2, Michigan. No explanation needed.
No. They
So I think those are both consensus. Undefeated teams so far have won all their games, dominating. Well, Georgia's had some close games, same with Michigan. But both teams are, I think, by far the best 2 right now. Washington, they're undefeated. They're 3rd. And this is going to be controversial. Florida State, they're undefeated as they are. But their quarterback's out for the year. Jordan Travis is out for the year. So I think a team that lost to Washington, who is the 3 seed in my mind, should jump them and go to number 4. And FSU should be number 5.
Well, you got who's 4?
4 is Oregon.
It's Oregon, yeah.
And then FSU is number 5. Simply because Florida State lost their playmaker. They lost their playmaker, their quarterback, Jordan
Mhm.
Travis.
Yep.
And Oregon's only loss is against a good Washington team. And it was a close game. Washington didn't blow them out. It was a close game through the entirety of the game. I watched that game.
My opinion on that game is Oregon blew it for themselves.
Yep.
Oregon should have won that game
Mhm.
easily.
Yep.
Like by like a touchdown.
Yeah, I think they definitely should have won. I don't know about easily, but it was
But
They
just
should've
like
won
the play calls that they made, like flipped it like 14 points.
they shot
flipped it
themselves in the
7.
foot.
They
Like,
yes,
straight up.
exactly.
So I think those are my top 4, and then FSU at the 5. And then I think Ohio State is number 6. And then actually no, hear me out. Okay, Ohio State at 6.
Oh,
And Texas at 7.
okay.
Ohio State, because they lost to a good Michigan team, goes to 6 because they had 1 loss. And then Texas, they played a great game on Friday. Arch
Yeah,
Manning showed out, so
Yeah, they beat Texas Tech.
I don't think they
Whooped
can
them.
move. I don't think they move though.
No,
I think
just
teams
because it
ahead
was
of them,
Texas Tech.
I just think the teams ahead of them, they're just not better than them. So they're my number 7.
Mhm.
Lock it in.
Yeah, mine is Georgia, Michigan 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I just think that Georgia, until they're beaten, Georgia deserves 1.
Mhm.
Until they're beaten, Georgia deserves 1. 2, it's got to be Michigan. They just beat who was previously number 2,
Mhm.
and they were number 3, so it just makes sense. Washington in a close one, but they deserve number 3.
Still won.
They still won. A
Win's
win's
a
a win, especially at this stage in this moment, in the season. And then number 4, I got Florida State just because they're undefeated. It's going to be tough next week because they play Louisville, and Louisville just lost to Kentucky, which was a little bit of a shocker for the rivalry week. So it's going to be interesting next week to see, Florida State can pull it out and make that college football playoff because I believe that's their ticket to getting in. And then Oregon at 5. It makes sense, whoever wins that game next week is most likely going to the college football playoff and playing Michigan unless they believe an undefeated Florida State team
Yep.
is there, deserves to be there over that. Then number 6, I'm contemplating putting Texas here, but at the same time, Ohio State has the better loss. A loss is a loss, but losing to Michigan versus losing to Oklahoma is 2 different teams.
Yep.
Two different teams. So Ohio State at 6, and then Texas at 7.
All right, I think that's respectable. The only thing different we had was Florida State and Oregon, right?
Yep.
All right. Respectable. And moving on to the NFL. Enough with college. Thoughts on the Thanksgiving games? Because we both had pretty big stakes watching because we are Lions fans.
Yep.
And it was an in-division game.
Yep.
We lost to the Packers 29-22. And the Lions just looked horrible.
Jesus. I mean, one player in particular is Jared Goff. Holy
Ball
crap.
security. Fumbled the ball twice.
Well, holding the ball like this and then holding the ball like this is two different things.
If you got hit out in the middle of trying to switch his hands,
Yes.
and I mean,
Just,
horrible.
just got all he has to do is tuck it, and he maybe loses one of those.
yeah. I think the one fumble where it was returned for a touchdown,
Yeah,
that
like
wasn't really on him.
like
that
it was close.
It was on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So I think that one's okay, but understandable. But the one where he fumbled it, where he was trying to switch the ball over, that was horrible.
Like he switches it and then he holds it out here.
Mhm.
Like he had the time to tuck it, but he holds it out here.
Yep. Just was too slow with
And then
it.
the third fumble, he just tries to scramble like this, and it's just an easy, like just flick out of his hands.
Then the Lions on their fourth down conversions, they didn't complete a single one of them. 0 for 5.
That's bad.
That was probably the big deciding factor
Yes.
because the defense played good in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they came
The
back.
offense started reeling it back in, but their fourth down conversions were horrible.
And then again, trying to play from behind is very tough to do in the NFL. Like it's not like college where like miracles happen.
You
Like
don't want to do that in the NFL.
no,
You can only do that so many times.
like miracles happen very rarely in the NFL for a reason,
Mhm.
because the talent level is just a huge jump from college. So that's the take on that game.
Yeah, it was just depressing since we lost to the Packers.
And
We beat them early on in the season.
crushed them early
Yep,
on
it
the
wasn't
season.
even close, but
And
I
that
think
was
the Lions
at
will bounce
that
back.
was at Lambeau too.
Yep, at Lambeau. We had more fans there than they did. So, yeah. But the 4 o'clock game, the Cowboys and the Commanders, this was just
A flat out
Cowboys. just blew
mercy.
out. It was kind of decent for the first quarter, but after that, oof,
There was no mercy in that game.
Sam Howell threw a pick 6. Dak was on fire.
Yeah, that cornerback from the Cowboys.
Yeah, number 26.
What a year he's having.
He's crazy. Did they really lose Trayvon Diggs? Did they really lose Trayvon Diggs at this point? Because he's just really filling that hole.
Yeah, he is filling it tremendously.
Yeah, Dak Prescott was on something. He was playing great.
He's been playing great these past
CeeDee
couple of
Lamb.
weeks.
CeeDee Lamb was balling.
CeeDee Lamb was doing his thing.
Micah Parsons, I saw him. He was pressuring the quarterback a lot. Got a sack.
Yep.
He made Sam Howell shook, as you could tell. And I think it just showed their defense is crazy.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Their defense on paper is a top 3 defense,
Yes.
debatably the best.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was just their defense really stepped up, made it way easier for the offense, and the offense capitalized. Simple. That's how you win.
And this is kind of a build to the Cowboys' next 5 games.
Yeah.
This next 5-game stretch. I don't know if you've seen it, but
It's not easy.
it's not easy, and it caps off with the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
So it's going to be a tough next 5 games. The Cowboys though are picking something up. They're figuring stuff out.
Dak's been on the Dak's been
Dak's been on the
really
money.
crazy the last 3
On
games.
the money.
Last 3 games.
Yes,
I mean,
he's been crazy.
all that talk about how he's terrible, how he's bottom 15, overpaid. I just think everybody just hates on Dak for some reason, just because he's on the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it sucks because of what he's gone through in his life.
Yeah, I mean, and people are hating on him because he's a quarterback for the Cowboys and he's getting
It's
paid a lot.
it's literally only because he's the quarterback for the Cowboys.
That's just people who wish they were like him
Yes,
hating on him.
yes,
They wish they could get paid hundreds of millions to throw a ball good. Sorry,
Mhm.
you can't throw the ball just as good as him. I mean, it's simple. I mean, he's
Takes-
gone through a lot. He's been doubted a lot, but he was not a high draft pick,
mm-hmm.
and he's proving people wrong. And people hate him because he's a Cowboy. I can't say that enough.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
Yeah.
the Cowboys, but I don't go out of my way to hate a certain player on the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I hate Cowboys fans to be more specific. I don't like them very much.
yeah. The Cowboys fans are just
They're annoying.
they're annoying and they're ridiculous.
We're America's football team.
Yep, if you're America's football team, then why aren't you
Why are you
winning
the
the
most
Super
hated?
Bowl? Why aren't
Why
you
are you
the most hated?
I mean-
There's a lot of question marks there.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't really dislike a certain player from the Cowboys, if that makes
No.
sense. I don't like their fans, and Jerry Jones, I don't like him either.
Jerry Jones
He annoys me.
is something else,
But,
and Stephen A. talks about them a little bit too much.
yeah,
So
but I mean, I think Dak Prescott's really shutting people up, though. They can't talk too much about him. So,
like they can't really.
yep. But another game that happened on Friday was the Dolphins versus Jets, the Black Friday game.
First one all time.
This you had a lot of high stakes in.
Yes,
Give your thoughts on it, because we all know Dolphins just flat out killed the Jets.
Yeah,
It
Dolphins-
wasn't close, but
let's be honest.
The reason I wrote this down was
Tim Boyle should not be starting an NFL football
he
game.
should not be playing
He
quarterback.
should not be playing quarterback. He shouldn't even be in the league, to be honest. At most, he should be a practice squad player. He's just not good. Like I don't know what teams keep seeing in him. Like there should be enough film on him with the Lions, just throwing it to the defense.
Going back to his college career, he bounced around from Baylor to UConn, and he threw 4 touchdowns. His ratio is 4 touchdowns to 14 interceptions in his college career. So he threw more interceptions than touchdowns by a good margin.
Wasn't he the guy who like was with Matt Rule and like had that one really good year at Baylor? No, that wasn't even him. That wasn't even him.
It wasn't him.
Wow.
It was not him.
So that is I don't know how he's even here.
It's because he's 6'4" and has a good arm. But he can't read the defense.
He has a good arm to throw to the defense, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Jesus Louise. He is so bad. So bad.
Let's talk about the reason why you're really upset at Tim Boyle specifically.
At Tim Boyle specifically?
Who's your receiver on your fantasy team that you just so happen to bench?
I bench Garrett Wilson because I mean, obviously, you can see the hatred and the faith that I have in Tim Boyle. Holy crap. He ends up throwing his only touchdown to him. Garrett Wilson basically saved his stats, I'll tell you that. And then, of course, he managed to throw a pick 6 in that game as well, which was a Tim Boyle thing to do.
Just throwing it to the defense.
Throwing it to the defense, letting them run away with the football. I even chose them to lose in my loser pick because I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yep.
I knew Tim Boyle was going to just go from 0-3 to 0-4. He's always going to change that right number. He's never going to change that left number. I promise you that. And I don't know why the Jets thought going from Zach Wilson to Tim Boyle was going to get better. Like they thought their graph was going to go like this. I knew the graph was going to go plummet into the ground.
Didn't change a thing.
And the Jets, like they're not even like out. Like they're not like 2-8. Like they're not out of the playoffs.
Aren't they 5-7?
There's something like that. Like they're
I'm
decent. Like,
pretty
they're
sure
not
they're 5-7.
horrible. But I mean, Jesus,
It's
Louise,
not looking good. Not looking
going
good.
to Tim Boyle is just like, what are you doing?
And then last topic we have is, as we all know, the Pac-12 is getting discontinued after the season.
Unfortunately,
Sadly, I think it's pretty dumb because you're going to have teams in California playing a team like Rutgers. That is literally across the country.
yes.
No sense.
Imagine
whatsoever.
Rutgers traveling to play USC.
It
Like
just
that
makes-
is crazy.
It's literally across the country.
That is literally here to here. Like that.
That's
It's
far
like,
travel.
that's like 2,000 miles. Like,
Mhm.
holy crap!
But that's it's an in-conference game, I
Just,
guess.
it's an in-conference.
Doesn't make a lot of sense at all. But
It's not even like that Big Ten commercial. You know how like they show like where everybody is.
yeah, they're not gonna be able to do that.
They're not
anymore.
gonna be able to do that no more. They're gonna have to show we're gonna start from over here. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here, and then we're gonna move all the way over here. Oh my god! Holy crap!
It's gonna make no sense.
That's gonna make no sense.
So cherish the last Big Ten commercial for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, that's just
It hits me pretty hard with nostalgia. It's low-key a bop of a song.
It
Can't
is.
lie.
But
But yeah, the Pac-12 played their last regular season game yesterday, and all they got left is the Pac-12 championship. I'm already getting used to trying to call it the Big Ten championship now.
Yep.
So
yeah, the Pac-12 championship, Oregon versus Washington, which is not to, like is a pretty good thing to end out on. It's a pretty good game. to end
that's a
out
great game to end out on.
on. Yeah, but still,
So I mean,
it's sad.
it's weird. There's going to be 18 teams in the Big Ten, and a lot of them are going to be West Coast.
Yes,
So
and we're literally gonna go from Power 5 to Power 4.
pretty much, yes.
It's weird.
Yep.
My whole childhood was literally like growing up, and it was Power 5.
It's just always been between Michigan and Ohio State usually.
Yep, and even like the Rose Bowl was usually the
Big Ten versus
Big
Pac-12.
10 versus Pac-12 champion.
How are they going to do that now? We'll see. But
I mean, it could happen one last time. Of course, the winner, I believe the Rose Bowl is one of the 2 games. I
Yeah.
feel like if they made the Rose Bowl, Michigan versus
only reason
whoever.
I'm not fully against it is the college football playoffs is expanding to 12 teams instead of 4, so you don't have to. Teams with 2 losses can still get in.
Mhm.
It's like if you lose one game now, like in the 14 college football playoffs, that's literally just a death sentence.
Yeah.
You got to have a lot of luck.
So, yeah, a lot of luck, a lot of quality
You
wins
got
too.
to prove why you're the one lost team to make it in.
Hmm.
Well, there's other one lost teams and undefeated teams. So I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. But
Hmm.
I do like the 12 team.
Yes.
That's a good decision.
Yes, them expanding,
Mhm.
gives two lost teams, and it'll cause a lot more like March Madness upsets.
Yep.
Like maybe a 12 beats a 1. Maybe a 12 goes all the way.
Yeah,
Like it would be very cool.
it's gonna be interesting to see.
It'd be very cool to see.
Just at the hour mark, as soon as we talked about the last topic.
There you go. And I guess that's your daily hour.
Questions I got. Thanks for tuning in. It was fun.
Yes.
Fun talking
This
about
was
this
fun,
on
and,
Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Sunday night. Sorry.
It's this Sunday.
Got school tomorrow, dude. I don't want to go to school tomorrow.
Nope. Neither do I.
Dude, I just don't enjoy school. But you know what?
It's what it is.
It's whatever.
It's what it is. Got to get through one more year.
Yeah.
Then college. So.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Can't say that enough. Check out all of our socials. Keep supporting. Road to 500 and
Yeah, tell your friends and family to subscribe.
Mhm.
If you haven't already. We'll see you guys in the next podcast episode.